Hello and welcome to Never After All Readings. I am your host, Never After All. Today's reading will be A Candle to the Sun by Mayobite, read by the Never After All. Twilight Sparkler wandered around anxiously back and forth through the Canterlot Market, occasionally poking her head into a stall before moving on to the next one. Spike followed her path, though every so often he would have to break into a jog to keep up. They had been at this for hours now, and his feet felt like lead. "Oh," Twilight moaned, "what in Equestria do you buy a princess as a gift?" "There's a shop over there selling beds," Spike said warily. "I think she'd like a bed. Maybe I should test one out to make sure it's okay." "Focus, Spike. I need to meet Princess Celestia today, and I still haven't found a gift that says, well, you know." Twilight blushed. Spike sighed. "You sure you want to go through with this, Twi? Telling Princess Celestia about your feelings for her?" Twilight shot him an angry glare. "Yes, I am. I've kept my feelings to myself for too long, and today," she waved a hoof at the marketplace holiday-themed heart-shaped bunting, and a sign over the florist stall. That sign said, "Say you love her with flowers." "Today is the day to tell her." Spike shrugged. "Fine, I was just asking. You've been shopping since dawn, though, and I'm tired and hungry." As if prompted, his stomach rumbled loudly. "Correction," he said. "I was hungry hours ago. Now I'm starving. Can I get one gem? Please, Twi?" Twilight was about to tell him no, but a pang of conscience held her back. Trepidation over her impending confession to the princess had made her poor company on this trip, and Spike had been suffering the consequences ever since they had left Ponyville yesterday. "Fine," she conceded, "but make it quick. There's a stall over there." Not needing to be told twice, Spike skipped excitedly over to the display of gemstones and began to hum and haw over the selection like a child trying to pick his favorite flavor of ice cream. Twilight, meanwhile, cast a jagged eye over the jewelry that hung at the back. They had been in some of the finest jewelers in Canterlot. She doubted she would find anything of higher quality in a market stall that had erected this morning. Sure enough, she saw nothing that would suit the princess, and she turned her attention back to the baby dragon. But her tired imagination caught up with her and elbowed her in the ribs. She looked back over the jewelry to the heavy gold necklace with 4 purple trapezoids embedded in it. It was nice, she thought, but not perfect. A gift given with a proclamation of love needed to be perfect. Her imagination nudged her again, and the colors of the necklace swam and changed. She gasped and excitedly waved the vendor over. "Do you do modifications?" she asked. The vendor, a middle-aged gray mare, nodded in the affirmative. "Can you take that?" Twilight pointed at the necklace, "and change 3 of the gemstones for that?" She pointed at a pink pastel ruby. "That," she pointed at a sky blue sapphire, and "this," she whisked the pale green garnet out of Spike's hand. He gave her a look like a kicked puppy, and she took no notice. "Sure thing, ma'am," the jeweler said. "I'll have it done within the hour. The whole lot comes to 440 bits. Twilight balked. 440 bits, she began, but stopped. There was no way she was going to give up this opportunity. 400, she replied. 440. Faded garnets are hard to come by. I saw a basket full of them in Juanita's jewelry this morning. 410. You'll have the cuttings left over after you fit the gems. 435. The gems I take off will be harder to sell alone. 430, and you'll have it ready in half an hour. Done." Twilight danced happily on the spot. "Yes, finally! It's going to be perfect for her. Come on, Spike. Let's go let the lady work in peace." Spike, frozen in place, stared at the empty hands where his delicious green gem had once been. His lips quivered pathetically as Twilight skipped away, humming to herself. The palace was quiet. Many of the staff were taking advantage of the holiday, and only a few remained to wait on the royals. Princess Celestia had retired to her bedchambers and was currently flicking through a dog-eared copy of The Entwined Ship, a twiddly novel she had one of the maids sneak in for her. Trashy paperbacks were a guilty pleasure of hers, and she had rarely got the chance to indulge herself while there were so many staff about. She laid on the bed of cushions on the floor with a glass of wine at her side, the book propped up against her larger, somewhat somber tome. Just outside, Twilight raised her hoof to knock on the door, but hesitated. The necklace, now boxed and gift-wrapped, was perched on her back and seemed to be growing heavier and heavier with the significance it bore. She lowered her hoof again and scampered back to a nearby pillar at the end of the corridor where Spike waited impatiently. 37, 38, 39, and you're back again, he said. You're getting better, though. It was nearly 39 seconds before you chickened out this time. Twilight looked miserable. I know, I'm too nervous. Twilight, Spike began. It's just that I don't know what to say. I don't know how she'll react, and I really don't want to mess up the relationship we have now. She shoved the colorful box into Spike's arms. Spike was ravenous at the mere thought of the gems within, and it sent his stomach into peals of gargling. But as he watched, a tear formed on Twilight's eye and rolled down her cheek, betraying her false smile. He shook his head sadly. All right, Twilight. If you're sure this is what you want, let's go. He climbed onto her back, and the two trotted towards the exit. As they passed Celestia's door for the last time, Twilight became aware of a faint squeaking noise. She stopped and leaned towards the door, her nervous temporarily drowned out by the curiosity, but the squeaking got neither louder nor quieter as she got closer to the door until she realized it was coming from Spike. He was using a large blue marker to write something on the box she had given him. What are you doing? She hissed. Spike capped the marker, rotated the gift so Twilight could see his reading. It read, "With all my love, Twilight Sparkle." Before she could react, Spike inhaled deeply and breathed out a huge gout of green flame over the box, which evaporated into a plume of smoke that flowed through the air and under Celestia's door. Twilight watched in horror as the last wisp disappeared from view. Spike, meanwhile, dismounted and rapped his knuckles loudly on the solid oak timbers, then sprinted down the corridor with a speed only mischievous makers can attain. "Come in," said a voice beyond the door. Twilight briefly considered fleeing, but now that Celestia had the gift, she had to go in and explain herself. She swallowed her fears and opened the door. Princess Celestia was kneeling on her cushions with the gift held between her hooves. Several cushions had been piled in a heap as if to hide something. Probably another one of her secret novels, Twilight thought. Sweat was forming on Twilight's forehead as Celestia looked up uncertainly from the writing on the box to her visitor. "Hello, Twilight," said the princess. "Is this for me?" Blushing furiously, Twilight took a deep breath and stammered out a shaky, "Yes, princess, it is." The princess untied the large bow and opened the box. Her eyes widened as she reached in and gently pulled out the necklace. It shone brightly, reflecting the beams of sunlight, the colors of the princess' hair onto the walls. "It's beautiful," she breathed. She turned to Twilight, still uncertain of her intentions. The purple pony swallowed hard, locked her eyes with the princess, and began to speak. I need to tell you something. I need to tell you that everything you've done for me, all of the time we have spent together in this place, it means a lot to me. And a lot more than I ever said. When I spent time with you, I felt like I had something more than just a mentor, and I wanted to tell you today what you meant to me." Twilight lowered her horn and levitated the necklace from Celestia's hooves. She unfastened a clip, circled the chain around the princess' neck, and closed it again. The gems rested on Celestia's chest as if they belonged there. "Happy Mother's Day," Twilight finished. Princess Celestia wrapped her forelegs around the young mayor's shoulders and hugged her. Tears of joy ran deeply down both their faces. "Oh, Twilight," she said. "My Twilight." Alright, hello everybody. This is the Never After All. This was my first reading, as you can tell. It was also my first time ever editing one of these, so it's kind of jumpy at places. I'm trying my best as I practice a little bit more, and if I get a different program, because the program I'm using kind of sucks, it will improve over time. Um, I would like to thank you. Uh, while this was a My Little Pony fan fiction, that is not the only fan fictions that will be read. If you guys have any suggestions, if you guys have your own fan fiction for any fandom, post it. Send me a link in the comment section, and I'll look at it and I will read it before I think about putting it on the site. I want to stick with short stories for right now. I don't know when anything will be out. I don't have a schedule right now. I'm going into college at the end of August, and I currently work night shift. So it is. I'm currently 12 o'clock at my house. I have been doing this for the past 3 hours, and it is stressful. But I want to do this. It was something that I want to do. I want to share some of the fan fictions that don't get readings to you guys. So, um, subscribe and click the little notification so that when I do post, you will be informed. And please give me honest criticism, give me some critiques, tell me how I can improve, and if you guys have any suggestions, I will be all ears. Thank you all, and have a very nice night.